friends, and welcome to your $1,000,000 message. This is Tiffany Stout from the Austin, Texas area with your Wednesday wisdom. And I am home from an incredible time at Seminar. It was amazing. I know some of you are still there and wrapping it up. And man, what an incredible time it was. I brought home a little bit of strep throat with me, so that's not fun. But, I think that's sometimes how the enemy works, is like when you are just so fired up, he steps in the way just to see how determined you are and how committed to your goals you are. And so I wanted to talk to you today about things that you can control and the things that you cannot control. Because clearly when you get sick, that's something you can't control, no matter how well you take care of yourself. I have not been sick in almost 4 years. It's pretty amazing, especially with 4 kids who bring home every germ known to man. They have been sick over and over again, and they're just like, "Mom, what is up with you? You're made of steel." And I don't know, nobody's even sick right now, and somehow I got strep throat. So go figure. But that's how it is in life sometimes. Just sometimes things happen. They happen around us. They happen to us. And we have to determine and really evaluate what we can control and what we cannot control. And this especially, I think, helps us with our emotional management, and it helps us in our business and life and just everything that we need to do when you realize there's some things that just are out of your control. That has somewhat been the theme of my summer. I'll explain more about that in another message, but really it is just about trusting the Lord in every way, in every step, and just knowing that we are not the ones in control. So what are some things that are just out of your control? Let's talk about that first, because I think that's a place that we're probably pretty comfortable in realizing, like, oh my gosh, I thought I'm kind of a control freak, like somewhat to an extent. I like knowing what's going on and knowing what's happening and being in charge. And, if you want to say it, sure, bossing things around. I kind of run the household with like school schedules and activities and doctor's appointments, everything for the family. So I like to be in control of all those things. And maybe you're similar to me in that way. But sometimes those things just, kind of, you can't do it all. So here are some things that are out of our control. The past. It happens. It happened, and now we just get to move forward. And the past could be as recent as yesterday, as 5 minutes ago. And so you've got to realize we've got to move on quickly. We've got to just move forward, because you can't control the past and what has happened, but you can control what happens going forward to a certain extent. The next thing that you really cannot control is, sorry, I'm getting a phone call, is the result of what you're doing. You can control the effort that you put in, the time, the dedication, but you can't always control the end result. And I think that when you know that going into something, that helps give you perspective. It helps set your mind straight, knowing, hey, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to give it the best I've got, and I'm going to leave the results up to God. And then, oh my gosh, you feel so much more at peace with the end result, knowing that God has you exactly where you're supposed to be. The next thing you can't control is the future. I know we talked about the past and leaving that there, but we also can't control the future. We can control what we do to get the outcome and the results that we want and that we desire, but we can't control whether they happen and whether it comes together, right? Whether we get the result. So knowing that, I think, is really freeing. It is such a release to know, hey, I can't control the future. I can control what I do to get where I want to be in the future, but I can't control where I land. And then other things we can't control are what other people think of us. What other people think of us is none of our business. And one thing that I have always heard and that I love is that we wouldn't be so concerned about what other people thought of us if we realized how seldom they do. They really aren't thinking about you or me or anybody else besides themselves. Every one of us is so concerned about ourselves and what we're doing and what blah, 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 all the things about ourselves that we don't really have that much luxury of time to stop and think about all the other people around us. And so just know that other people aren't stopping to think about you either because they're too worried about themselves. And that leads me to the last thing is just worrying about something that's out of your control is worrying about other people's opinion. So not just what they think of you, but what their opinion of you, what their opinion of you is. And really, when you are more concerned about what God thinks of you, you will care so much less about other people's opinions of you because in the end and the beginning and the middle, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people's opinions of you are. Really, I mean, I know that's hard for some of us, especially if you're a people pleaser and you worry a lot about what other people think of you and what their opinion of you is. But I have to just let you know and just give you permission to let that not matter to you. Because these are the things that you can control. You can control your words. You can control your thoughts. You can control your actions. And you can control your response to others. You can control your self-awareness and your self-discipline and your self-belief. And you can control how you treat others, but you can't control what they think of you. So I feel like this is so, it just really just gives such a peace and calm when you realize there are some things that are out of your control. There are some things that are in your control. And when you control what you can control, then you don't have to worry about all the rest. It just feels so good. And so I wanted to share just in closing the story. If you watched the Olympics yesterday, I am going to give a spoiler alert because I am going to spoil it this time. I chose not to last week, but I am going to today. So if you don't want to know what happens in men's track in the 1500 meter, you can stop listening now because I'm going to give the spoiler if you didn't see it yet. But it was so awesome watching the men's 1500. So that's like 4 laps a mile, I think, something like that. So I'm not like a track expert at all, but I do love watching them run because I do love running. And man, these guys are flying. They're running fast. But what I found was so interesting, and my family did too, was at the beginning, they did like a little bio on the 2 top guys kind of in the running. No pun intended. But the 2 guys in the running for like gold medal, right? Like the 2 guys that were favored to win and expected to win. One of them was the Norwegian who won gold in Tokyo 4 years ago. So he was kind of favored. Jakob was favored. And then they talk about the British guy. Now he is favored. He was favored because he won the world championship in 2023. So it was kind of like down to these 2 guys, and they did this little like bio sketch piece before the race about these 2 guys, and they're just both talking trash about each other. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like the opposite of everything else that I've seen in the Olympics and the Olympic spirit, and everyone having good team, sportsmanship and cheering each other on and giving hugs and bowing to the queen in gymnastics, all the things that I've seen. And I'm like, I've never really, it happens, it exists, but these guys are like talking trash behind each other's backs for like the last few months or years. I have no idea, but they're just like, oh, well, he thinks he's going to win. Well, I'm the best and I'm most prepared. And they were cussing. It was crazy. I was like, what? So at the end of this little 5-minute clip, I'm going, I don't want either one of them to win. Like, how great would that be if neither one of them won and somebody else just comes from behind and knocks these 2 guys off their pedestal? And we said it out loud, my daughter Alexa and I watching it, and we're like watching, and all of a sudden, it's like it's 4 laps around the track, which that would take me like a good 10 minutes, okay, at least. And these guys, it's a 3-minute race for them, okay? So for 3 minutes, we're watching and we're like, oh my gosh, like the Norwegian guy is in the lead. He's setting the pace. They're all running too fast. They're like, other guys are dropping behind, but there's 3 Americans in this race. And they're kind of hovering in like the 5, 6, 7 spot the whole time. And then they get to like the last 200 meters or so. 400, 200, somewhere around there. And they're kind of starting to like break through and like break in to the top. And it's like, oh my gosh, what is even happening right now? And then like this one American comes in and he tries to kind of take the inside track away from the Norwegian, and the Norwegian kind of nudges him out. And you're like, what in the, oh my gosh, like what? And we're just like, they're coming down to the final stretch, guys. And the Norwegian and the British guy are so focused on each other. They are such in a battle for 1 and 2, and you can see that they're like just neck and neck and neck and neck, and like just going after it. Like, okay, we've got this. Which one of us is it going to be? And little do they see Cole Hawker from the United States come in on the inside. He sees his opening. He sees that window, and he takes advantage of the opportunity. And he has the best finish. That's like what he's known for, is his strong finish. And so he comes in and he sprints and he overtakes both of them to win gold. And the Norwegian drops back and another American jumps in and he takes bronze. The British guy took silver. It was amazing. So I highly encourage you to go in and watch it. But you know what? You control what you can control. And the American, he couldn't control that these 2 guys are bickering, but what set them back was the fact that they were so focused on each other that they weren't focused on this 3rd guy that was coming up behind them. And I love that he took the gold away from them because he deserved it. He earned it. He saw his opening. He saw his chance, and he went after it. He could control his thoughts, his actions, his activity, his mindset. He was doing. He wasn't focused on other people around him, what they were doing, what their opinions were, what their little bicker was all about. He wasn't focused on that. He was focused on his race. So I encourage you, as we go into this new seminar year now, you focus on you. You focus on your race. Focus on what you can do, what you're doing about it. You don't need to talk. You don't need to focus on what's left, right, anybody else around you. Just do you. Do what God has set out for you to do. Run your race. I hope this message blesses you all today. God bless you all. Bye-bye.